What's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday to you guys, man. It's another edition of Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers, man. Hope you guys are feeling good today, man. We are halfway through the week. Hope everything is going all right with you. We got lots to discuss tonight, man. I'm going to be talking about Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are reloaded and set to defend their Super Bowl championship. They basically re-signed everybody from that team. They're going to be ready to go. I'll let you guys know my thoughts on that. Also, what are the Philadelphia Eagles thinking? They signed Joe Flacco to be maybe the backup to Jalen Hurts. Interesting situation, interesting transaction. I'll give you my thoughts on that as well. Mac Jones, the starting quarterback from Alabama, had his pro day today. He turned some heads, but does he have what it takes to actually be a legitimate NFL quarterback? Now, we've seen in the past a few good Alabama quarterbacks have won some national championships, but then they ended up not being very good in the NFL. So I'll talk about that. And finally, to close out the show tonight, I'm going to be talking about Draymond Green's comments about him proclaiming himself to be the best, the greatest defender in NBA history of all time. He's out there for that one. So anyway, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Clutch Sports Talk Live with Ryan Flowers is presented by Also Digital Sports, the future in sports media content. Let's go. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining in the show, man. If you're in the stream right now, don't be a lurker. Drop a comment. Say what's up. How you doing? How's it going, Ryan? How's life? Doesn't have to be sports related. Just drop a comment. Also, if you're watching live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, man, I thank you so much. Also, if you're watching on YouTube as well, go ahead and subscribe to my channel right now. If you haven't already subscribed to my Clutch Sports channel, please go ahead and do so right about now if you can. I would appreciate that. And if you're watching on Twitter and Facebook, make sure you retweet and share this content right now so we can get this information out to everybody listening around the world and around the internet. So I appreciate you guys. There's some clerical stuff here down below. You see the social media information that's streaming down below. You can catch me on Instagram at clutch.sports.talk. You can catch me on Facebook at Ryan Flowers, and you can also catch me at Twitter at clutch_talk. And again, YouTube. I'm trying to make a big push here. I'm at 76 subscribers. I'm trying to get to that 100. So make sure you go and search me on Clutch Sports Talk. It's real simple. You search that. I'm the first one there. It's really easy. That's all I ask for. I mean, I'm not asking you to buy anything, but just hit that subscribe button and we'll keep it moving. But anyway, other than that, man, I hope you guys are doing well. It's a beautiful day out here in Henderson, Nevada, where I reside, which is a suburb just outside of Las Vegas. I live actually down the street from the Las Vegas Raiders practice facility. So I get to see that very often, which makes me sick to my stomach because I'm a Cowboys fan. But nonetheless, at least we have an NFL team here in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. But anyway, yeah. So let's just get straight into it. So Tampa Bay is on a mission. They basically re-signed all of their key starters and players from that Super Bowl winning team of last season. Their defense is set. They just re-signed Ndamukong Suh to a 1-year deal today. Tom Brady restructured his contract to get basically all their guys back. They franchise tag Chris Godwin, their special wide receiver talent. And like I said, they took care of Levante David, Shaq Barrett, all these other guys that they need to make this thing work. And it's so interesting because I would say more than 75% of the season last year, a lot of people, including myself, did not think Tampa Bay was capable of winning a Super Bowl championship. I don't know. It's something that was missing. And I was on someone else's podcast a few months ago, and they asked me this question, and I said, I don't know if they have their identity at that point. And when I did that interview, they didn't have an identity. I think they had just, who did they lose to? They had just lost to someone, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been the Chiefs. And oddly enough, they ended up beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But at that point, they didn't really have an identity yet. They got an identity. Now, the only person they haven't really re-signed or haven't had at least I haven't heard anything, was Leonard Fournette. Not sure if they're going to let him walk or let him test the free agency market. But I guess they feel like maybe they have what they need in-house to kind of take care of that particular need. But the offensive line is set. Their defensive and linebackers are set, and their offense is set. So there's no question in my mind that they can compete. Now, it's very hard to win a Super Bowl back-to-back years. I mean, it hasn't been done since the Patriots. Teams have won a Super Bowl, and then literally the next year they have like what they call the Super Bowl hangover. Not sure if Tampa Bay will fit that mold, but you never know, actually. But from what we know right now with this particular team, this lineup, who's gonna challenge them in the Super Bowl? The NFC East is pretty stacked. Don't get me wrong, but Tampa Bay's got it going on. I mean, literally. I mean, like I said, you're bringing back Tom Brady. Yes, I know he's a year older, but he still has a decent supporting cast. You got Gronk still there, and one thing of note: not only are the players coming back, the coaching staff, and this is crucial. We see a lot usually after a team wins a Super Bowl. Guys start getting jobs, whether it's head coaching jobs in college, whether it's other jobs in the professional ranks. But this core is still intact. Obviously, you still have your head coach. You still have your offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, and you still have your defensive coordinator still intact. And these are key figures within this organization because coordinators, they do a lot of stuff that people don't even talk about or even see. They are really the heart of the coaching staff or the organizational structure of a football team. Now, the head coach, he's the head man, and Bruce Arians has proved to be a decent head coach for the most part of his career. But now he's got a good cast of solid contributors such as Byron Leftwich, who's, you would say, an up-and-coming offensive coordinator. And hell, he might get a chance to be a head coach sooner than later. Todd Bowles was a head coach before. He thrived in defenses in Arizona with Bruce Arians. He goes to the New York Jets. I believe he had one winning season there, and then he got fired. But now he comes back to Tampa, where he's just a coordinator, and look at that defense. I mean, that defense was astounding. That defense won the Super Bowl for them. So do I think they can make it back to a Super Bowl? Absolutely. Absolutely. But like we know in all seasons in the NFL, nothing is promised, man. You just don't know. On paper, they probably are the best team in the NFC right now. I'm pretty sure the odds are Tampa Bay is going to win the Super Bowl or be in the Super Bowl at least. And then you look at other teams, who are some other perennial teams? I mean, we'll stay in the division there with the Saints. Drew Brees retires. They still have questions at quarterback. We don't know. They're still jettisoning a lot of players. What is their roster going to completely look like? Is Michael Thomas still going to be around? Alvin Kamara, what's going to happen with him? Who's going to be taking the snaps under center? That's the biggest question of all. Now, I don't think we can rule out Sean Payton's ability to coach, but he's definitely going to have his work cut out for him next season. Looking at another team in the NFC, another perennial team would probably be the Green Bay Packers. They made it to the conference championship again, but lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. They re-signed Aaron Jones. They still have Devontae Adams out there, and their offense is looking pretty solid, and their defense is actually not that bad. So they might be the next team in line that can possibly challenge Tampa Bay, but their last two meetings really didn't go their way. They lost to Tampa Bay in the regular season, and then they lost to them in the NFC Conference Championship game. Another team that comes to mind that's a perennial is the Seattle Seahawks. We don't know exactly what the relationship status between Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks are. It seems like everything is all quiet on the front there. They addressed some of the offensive line needs that Russell Wilson basically begged and pleaded for. But, what are they going to do? They're in a tougher division, probably if not one of the toughest divisions now in all of football, the NFC West, where you're competing now with the Niners, who will probably be back, to top form here, barring any significant injuries to their line again, and just overall in general, the quarterback will be back. And then you look at the Arizona Cardinals; they made some decent improvements. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go out and win a Super Bowl. Some people do question some of the moves that they made with J.J. Watt and A.J. Green. AJ Green to me is more of a bang for your buck type of deal. Not I think 1 year deal. JJ Watt, they paid him a little bit more money than probably most people figured, but hey, we don't know. And then the Rams have a new quarterback with Matthew Stafford, excuse me. And then just off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody else. The Bears, no, I don't think so. The Cowboys, I don't know. The Cowboys are a wild card because on paper, and I say this every year as a diehard Cowboys fan, on paper, they have one of the most talented rosters. There's no doubt about that. But they can never put it together like some of these other teams are able to do so. Could they challenge anyone in the NFC? Yeah, I think so. I mean, Dak will be back if they can get that offensive line up and running, and Zeke can get going and just start feeding him. That's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to stop. Also, you got Amari Cooper, who's he's a one, but he's like, I don't know, he's a one when he wants to be. CD Lamb is coming into his own. Michael Gallup will be, somebody to look out for. And then also, the tight end situation. Obviously, they don't have Jason Witten retired, thank God, finally. Now they have Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin. Those are two guys that are going to be competing. But the defense is where the Cowboys are more, what's the word? Their defense is not good. It wasn't good last year. So, they have a new hire in Dan Quinn. Now, there's a lot of questions still surrounding the Cowboys still. So it just leads me to believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the leaders in the clubhouse and should, if not win the NFC again and represent the NFC in the Super Bowl next season. Like I said, the only team that can maybe compete with them at this point right now is the Green Bay Packers, because you can kind of trust them a lot more. There's more known about the Green Bay Packers than there are about other teams. A lot of these other teams have a lot of questions. And I can't think of any other real team in the NFC that can really hold up. I mean, like I said, we covered the NFC South, the East, maybe the Cowboys. I doubt that. With NFC North, Green Bay, NFC West, Seattle, but that's a whole mismatch down there. But it's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. It's not rare. Well, I'm not saying it's not rare. It's not easy to do what the New England Patriots did for 20 years, and which is dominate a conference or hell, even a division. So we're going to have to wait and see. But my money will be on Tom Brady. He's going to have everything right and ready to go. And Tampa Bay, I mean, literally is the place to be right now. And not to mention, they may even keep Antonio Brown. If I'm Antonio Brown, why not stay there? Why test the waters anywhere else? You got a good relationship with Tom Brady. You only had half a season to play in that system, and you still got a Super Bowl ring. And you had a touchdown in the Super Bowl. It doesn't get any better than that. Speaking of not getting better or getting better than that, the Philadelphia Eagles today or yesterday signed Joe Flacco to potentially be the backup. Interesting. Joe Flacco is probably one of the most overrated quarterback to win a Super Bowl, in my estimation. I mean, he's never really had strong regular seasons. He's played pretty nicely, especially that Super Bowl run. And he's bounced around. Actually, the last 2 seasons, he was with the Broncos, and then he played with the Jets last season. What does this say, or what does this mean for the Philadelphia Eagles? Well, I think you can look at it 2 ways. They think, well, we can bring a veteran guy in to back up Jalen Hurts. He has a pedigree, I guess, of winning a Super Bowl and being in the league, I think 14, 15 years. And he's a veteran. Or you can look at the other side. Well, maybe they don't believe in Jalen Hurts. And we won't know that for sure exactly until the draft occurs. And if they go and take a quarterback in especially like in the higher rounds, 4th, maybe even 5th, that will kind of determine, or even 3rd round, how they actually really feel about Jalen Hurts. Now, we know how they felt about Carson Wentz. They got rid of him. They let a lot of other guys go, guys that they probably needed to let go, like Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey. I see Vinny Curry. He signed with the Jets earlier today. So, but as far as the quarterback position is concerned, right now, the Philadelphia Eagles probably don't have a really good, solid foundation right now. Now, Jalen Hurts was 1-3 in his 4 starts as a starter this year. The big win was against the Saints. But other than that, they lost to the Cowboys, and obviously it wasn't his fault they lost to the Washington football team, because the coach, Doug Peterson, pulled them. They probably could have won that game. But nonetheless, I'm leaning more towards the side that they don't really feel comfortable with him quite yet. Because obviously the new coach, he didn't draft this kid, so he probably wants to bring in somebody that he probably feels comfortable with. And maybe he has some type of relationship with Joe Flacco. But this is the part I don't understand, because if you go with Jalen Hurts and he's the starter, he's more of an RPO, a run pass option type quarterback. Joe Flacco cannot move. Joe Flacco is not running an RPO. Period. He's just not doing that. So I don't see Joe Flacco back there running any type of RPO, any type of misdirection where he's moving or bootlegging or rolling outside the pocket. So to me, if you're going to get a backup, you would want to probably get a backup that complements your starter. That way you don't have to run 2 separate offenses. And to me, this decision to grab him, it just doesn't make any sense when I feel like there's guys that are out there. Obviously, they could have made a play for Marcus Mariota. Hell, you could even have made a play for Ryan Fitzpatrick at this point. Well, before he signed with the Washington football team. But to go out and get Joe Flacco, uh, I don't know, man. I just think that they whiffed. I mean, I know they haven't really done a lot of signings in free agency, which is fine. Typically teams that do a lot of free agency signings are not really good teams. So just keep that in mind. But I don't think they address their needs properly. And a backup quarterback and Joe Flacco, because I guarantee you, Jalen Hurts will not play a full season. There's going to be a point where they're not going to be happy with him, and they're going to pull him. And it leads me to believe that they probably will try to go and draft a quarterback in this upcoming draft. So I'm not sure what their thought process is in Joe Flacco, other than what I listed before, as far as his being a veteran as a quarterback in the National Football League for over 14 years, if I'm not mistaken. But I just don't think that they actually have a lot of confidence in Jalen Hurts moving forward. And this is going to be another division. It's not like the NFC West where it's going to be loaded, but you're looking at it now. You're looking at the landscape of things. I think most of us can agree that the Giants possibly gotten better. They, added Kenny Golladay. Saquon Barkley will be back. They added Kyle Rudolph. They added some more defensive key players on their defensive side. And their defense really wasn't the problem last year. It was their offense. Can Daniel Jones take the next step? Maybe. Okay. Then you look at the Washington football team. Their defense was good. That's a top 5 defense. That front line is one of the best that we have in football today. And it should be. They invested so many high picks in that. You got studs like Terry McLaurin back there now. I forgot they added another wide receiver. I forgot the other day. I forgot his name, but it's a decent move to help that offense, because here's the thing: in that playoff game against Tampa Bay, Tyler Heineke was giving Tampa Bay all they could handle. Now, in the end of the day, Tampa Bay was just more talented on offense, and they ended up winning the game. But who knows? The Washington football team coached by Ron Rivera. That might be a wild card team that can possibly sneak up, and a lot of people have them winning the division. Then you look at the Cowboys again. You look at what they got going on. Hopefully, their injuries with their offensive linemen, they can kind of figure that out. Obviously, their defense needs to be worked on a little bit. They hired Dan Quinn. They ended up signing what's the guy's name? I forgot his name now. Keanu Neal to play weak side linebacker, and they're still looking to address their safety needs. So who knows what's going to happen? But the Philadelphia Eagles right now are probably, if you look at the roster from top to bottom, they probably have the least talented roster in that division. So if they want to compete for Super Bowls and playoff spots, I just don't see it. And to me, Joe Flacco is like who cares, really? I really don't understand. So in quarterback position is very important in this league. And if you don't understand that, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, because I always say this: finding the right quarterback is like finding the right woman in life. And if you find the wrong one, you've messed up. You're screwed. Because you got to pay them and you got to deal with this whole headache. Same thing if you don't find the right woman or mate in life, it can mess up stuff for you quite significantly. So maybe they think they got the guy in Jalen Hurts. We'll have to see. But Joe Flacco will be waiting in the wings right there to possibly take over in Philadelphia. Sticking with quarterbacks, man, we're just moving along in this show pretty nicely today. Mac Jones completed his pro day today with University of Alabama. Now, he's a very successful quarterback. I mean, 2 years in Alabama. I mean, you can't deny, what he was able to do. Now, they didn't win the I forgot who won the national championship already. Oh, it was Alabama. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was Alabama. But that's how my memory serves. So he won a national championship, right? And he followed behind Tua Tagovailoa. So that's pretty hard. I mean, Tua had a tremendous career in Alabama. But here's the thing: I'm watching NFL Network. I'm watching these analysts on here, especially guys. They say they break down the talent, and as they should, whatever. But they're falling in love with Mac Jones. And I don't see it. I don't see how you can fall in love with a guy. I'm not saying he's trash. He's not garbage. He's won a lot in college football. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, and I kind of said this in the opener, he played at Alabama. Alabama has the best of everything. best offensive linemen, best facilities, best defensive linemen, best every wide receivers, everything. And there's been a history with AJ McCarron, Greg McElroy, and some other guys. These are just guys that I can think off the top of my head. And Tua might be in that party. We don't know yet. I'm going to give Tua another year. But I'm leaning more to putting Tua in this pile, that these guys from Alabama, especially these quarterbacks, they've never had to really deal with a lot of adversity. I mean, they just don't. When Mac Jones hardly gets sacked in Alabama, I mean, look, the guys he's throwing to, Devontae Smith, he had Henry Ruggs the last year. There's another guy that they had who's going to enter the draft who was hurt. And then you look at Tua, who he was throwing to. And then you go to the NFL, maybe the teams aren't as talented. You're not going to get the best blocking. You got to run for your life. We're seeing what happened with Tua. I don't see Mac Jones being that guy. Like, he's good. He's good. I don't think he's a generational talent. When you look at him, you're like, okay, like he can throw, he can spin it. I'm not going to spend like a second round pick on the guy. If he's there like in the 5th, 6th round, maybe I'll take him. But I'm not going to spend a 4th and a 5th round when I probably need defense or I need an offensive lineman. I'm just not. But I'm listening to these analysts and they're like, oh, he can make every throw and look at the velocity. Well, yeah, he's in a controlled environment in a dome in shorts and a t-shirt. But it just depends on what team he goes to. I mean, honestly, if he goes to a team that isn't talented, he's not the kind of guy that can carry a team like that. Could he play in the NFL? Absolutely. But it all depends on what team he actually goes to. If he goes to, a crummy team, I don't think his talent can overtake that. You look at Trevor Lawrence, and I'm not saying guys that go to big name schools are automatically legit, because obviously the top pick in this draft is going to be Trevor Lawrence. And where did he go? Clemson. And Clemson actually has a lot of talent as well, too. But one thing about Trevor Lawrence in comparison to Mac Jones is that the talent within the individual is just way greater. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a specimen. He probably needs to add a little bit more weight, but he's a prototypical quarterback with extreme athleticism. You look at Justin Fields, he's another guy. Zach Wilson, okay, maybe so. I think Zach Wilson and Mac Jones are probably in the same boat. Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence and the kid from North Dakota State, I forgot his name off the top of my head already. I should know that. It just slipped my mind. But those guys are generational talents. Even the kid from North Dakota State, I forgot his name. You guys let me know what his name is, because I'm drawing a blank. Trey Lance. That's his name, Trey Lance. You look at those guys. Now, Trey Lance went to North Dakota State. It's like, well, he sucked. Well, they suck. Well, no, North Dakota State is actually really good. I'm more inclined to say that he would be. We've seen that he would be in more of a position to be more successful. Why? Because he went to a school that didn't have everything. They didn't have the NFL wide receivers to throw to. They didn't have NFL linemen blocking for him. So he's actually had to really hone in on his craft and actually do some work. But Trevor Lawrence definitely has talent. Justin Fields definitely has talent. It all depends on the system that they go to. But I'm not going to sit here and say Mac Jones should be number one, because he's not. He's definitely not the number one pick in this NFL draft. He's just not. And there are guys that are saying that he is not, if not one of the best quarterbacks in this draft class, he is the best quarterback in this draft class, which to me it's like, how are you even on TV? Literally. How can you even say that? I'm not, like I said, again, I'm not saying the guy is trash all the way, but he did play at Alabama and there's a history. I mean, you look at the top quarterbacks today, right now. Aaron Rodgers went to Cal, not a big primetime school like that. Drew Brees, who recently retired, Purdue. Russell Wilson went to Wisconsin. They're not pumping out tremendous talent like that. Who else you got? I mean, look at Dak Prescott, Mississippi State. Deshaun Watson, obviously, he went to Clemson, but he was talented. When we see that now. Tom Brady, Michigan. But overall, like, these guys, I mean, it might just be an Alabama quarterback thing, because a lot of them they didn't pan out. They just did not pan out. And I think these guys that are on TV reporting about Mac Jones today are just delusional, are just flat out delusional. And I don't even know how they even have a job. So anyway, rolling right along, man. This is the last topic for tonight, keeping the show short. Draymond Green, speaking of delusional, He was on the Dub Warriors radio show or podcast, and I wish I had the audio for it, but I couldn't find it. But he basically was saying, I'm paraphrasing, that he feels he is the greatest defender in NBA history. That's his own opinion, which, okay. Number one, hold on, I got to get something to drink for this. Number one, I respect the fact you're an athlete, you're an alpha male. You got to be confident in yourself. Okay. So I won't knock him for that. Second thing, bro, you are not the greatest NBA defender, not even in your position. If you want to talk about forwards and centers, this guy's ahead of you. I mean, literally, if you want to talk about Dikembe Mutombo, Shaq, Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, and there's other guys that, off the top of my head, I can't think about, and you look at wing players, Scottie Pippen, Ben Wallace was I get it. Draymond is a talented defensive player, but not the greatest. I mean, you got, like I said, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tony Allen, who wasn't a superstar, even a Hall of Famer. But Kobe Bryant said in an interview years ago that Tony Allen was probably the hardest matchup he's had. Bruce Bowen from those Spurs teams. So it's like, here's my problem with guys like Draymond. I feel like, I don't know how old Draymond is, let me see. I have to see how old this guy is. And because I want to make a point. I want to make a point here. So he's 31. Okay. So okay, he's my point is that I'm not gonna say these generational guys, but guys like this, they're part of like a cusp of this generation that they think because they're doing it so well now that nobody ever did it before. And my correlation to this is like, we look at music today. Kids that are like, 15 to 25 years old, even 30, they put on like Little Uzi Vert and, Travis Scott, which I'm a fan of Travis Scott, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to say he's the greatest of all time. But these kids, these guys, they say, oh, Lil Uzi Vert's one of the greatest of all time. But it's like, you don't even know because you never had the opportunity to listen to the greats before Lil Uzi Vert or the Migos or Lil Baby or the Baby, all these other new artists. And to me, Draymond Green, I feel like when he made this comment, I don't think he understands the history of the NBA. And I get you're confident in your ability, but bro, come on. You're saying you're the best defender of all time? Of all time, dude. When there's Hall of Famers that are better than you. Draymond Green is not a Hall of Famer. He will never be a Hall of Famer. He was a nice piece, a role player on a championship winning team. I'm not even put LeBron in the picture. LeBron is a hell of a defender when he wants to play defense. So there are a bunch of other dudes, Draymond Green, and I don't know what this dude was smoking when he said that. But he's a guy that runs his mouth a lot, and he just says a lot of crazy stuff that makes no sense to me sometimes. Me personally, I mean, I don't really care too much for his brand, or he cries a lot. He plays hard. I won't say he doesn't play hard. He cares a lot. But he's a guy, he's always chirping and crying and whining instead of just playing the game. And the fact that he would think that he's the greatest defender of all time. I mean, I know I'm giving him credit as far as him saying, as far as me saying he's confident in himself. But dude, you got to be real too at some point in some time in your life. And I feel like he's not being really true to himself. And a lot of people are just going to, if you think he's the greatest defender of all time, God bless you. God bless you. Because there's no way in hell he's the greatest defender of all time. After some of the guys that I listed, and there's other guys that I didn't list because I never seen some of these other guys play. But the guys that I've actually physically seen play, no, he can't guard everybody. He can't guard 1 through 5. He plays center a lot, because that's the league now. You got these undersized centers, but he can't guard a Damian Lillard. He can't do that. You just can't. And vice versa. I can potentially see guys like Scottie Pippen. Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was a hell of a defender. So Draymond Green is like Dennis Rodman, but like a poor man's Dennis Rodman. Because Dennis Rodman was an athlete. I don't really see too much athleticism from Draymond Green, to be frank. And I'm not hating because it's not because I don't like the Warriors, but that's just a very ignorant statement by him. But hey, if that's what he feels, that's what he feels. I respect his opinion, but I don't necessarily have to agree with it. So I don't know. Well, anyway, that's it. That's my time, man. Quick half an hour show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If not, let me know your feedback. I appreciate any suggestions and feedback to the show, man, to make this a better viewing pleasure for you guys. But other than that, you can catch me next week, Monday, same channel, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube Live at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you guys tap in, and please, 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 please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, man. I really would appreciate that. But other than that, man, this is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Have a good night, everybody. Peace. Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers, is presented by All Pro Digital Sports, the future in sports media content. Let's go.